today we are gonna do another answering your questions video, and this time it's going to be smart home devices. All right, this is gonna be interesting. Just to share, I have actually been invited to speak on a live event. It was in the Homebuddies Facebook group. I'll share the link down in the description if you're interested to see conversations around smart home, and it's getting interesting. There's a lot more people into smart home, and there's a lot more buzz within the smart home community. So if you're interested in that, the links will be in the description. So I'll just jump right into it. I know these types of videos can get long. The last one I think was, I don't know, maybe more than 10 minutes. So ngayon, I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Alright, let me first open the questions. This one is for the Lasco bulb. I did this way back in, a year ago. No, more than a year ago, October 5th, 2020. So, it's been a long time. Okay, this one has 60 comments. So, it's good. John Carlos Manalastas. Just want to ask if this can be inserted inside a flush mount fixture with a 2 to 3 bulb socket inside. Yeah, so I'm not sure what the bulb socket is. It's hard to picture with your comment. So, but it fits in a normal socket. So, for example, some of the mga lamp holders na nilalagay sa desk, that can fit into those ones. Next question from Paulo Garcia. So Paulo asks, hey bro, just wondering how could I group them and control multiple lights with one setup? Thanks. So you can actually group them in Smart Life. Lasco works with Smart Life, and actually a lot of my devices are also compatible with Smart Life. You can create groups with the Smart Life and control it that way. In Google Home, they get grouped by room, but hindi ganun kadami yung level of control na magagawa mo sa Google Home. So I suggest grouping it in Smart Life. Next question from Ramon Kajuko. Okay, I just got mine. I was wondering if you experienced the invisible flickering of the light, where it flickers in high frequencies and that can only be seen with your camera. So for this, yeah, so that tends to be an issue with, especially when you're recording with a DSLR or mirrorless camera. That tends to be an issue. Next question from Dada Griffon. Do you suggest running this bulb from my ceiling? Can the switch be controlled? Okay, so this is one of the considerations when buying this bulb. What happens is if you attach it on your ceiling, then the switch needs to be always on, right? Because then you can only control the bulb via your phone or smart home assistant. Now, Philips Hue, I think, did a solution for this where you can buy an attachment to cover the light switch so that, you know, even the light switch has its own smart switch. Kasi once nalagay mo na siya sa sa ceiling mo, you cannot turn it off using the switch. That's why it's a bit tricky installing these in shared spaces where other people would use it, because it will end up being turned off a lot of the time. Yeah, so I normally use these bulbs in a fairly decorative manner. Like you see this light over here, that is a smart bulb from ZemiSmart, and I always have it on and I just control it via my phone or voice command, so I don't have to touch the on and off button. So to answer the question, it's advisable to use it in places where you won't have to touch the switch. Next question from Strawberry Love. If I use it in my ceiling, does it consume a lot of electricity? In my use case, I haven't noticed a significant increase in the electricity bill. I have a couple of them in my house, and they don't. They don't consume a lot of electricity. Okay, next question from Florence Janiel Ong. Is the brightness of the bulb enough to fully lit a small room? And does the product help you save an amount in electricity? Okay, so it's definitely bright, especially when you put it at max. So it can fill up a small room like this room. One bulb can fully light this room. When it comes to electricity, there are several cases or instances where I think it saves you electricity. For example, I have a couple of these in my garage, right? So every time I set them to turn on when the sun sets, so they automatically turn on, and then when it's morning they turn off, right? So dahil doon, wala nang situation na naiiwan ko yung ilaw na bukas, so I can be sure that the light is always off when I don't want it to be on. If that makes sense. Okay, next question from Vincent Carlos. I just want to ask if mabilis po siya mag-react sa music. Thank you in advance. Okay. There's a delay, maybe 1 second delay. It's hindi siya real time. So if you speak, there'll be a delay and then it would react. So medyo noticeable yung delay if you plan to use it to react to like music in your room. There's a noticeable delay. From Rebel, possible ba siya ma-access through voice command? Yes. There are several ways you can control it by voice using Amazon Alexa and Google Home. Alright, next video. Let's see what I have next. Next video I have is 5 budget smart home devices. First question from Katrina Biznar. May I ask how you customize your Lasco door sensor to trigger the lights and sound alarm siren? The way I did this was I had a door sensor or window sensor, and what I wanted to do was at night I would set an automation to turn on. So an automation means sa smart life, an automation means a set of actions that would trigger when certain things happen, no? So that automation only works at night, and that automation is if the window is open or opens during that time, the lights will flicker a certain way, right? So essentially that works as sort of a visual alarm, no? So if you have door sensors, if someone opens them at a certain time, I normally set it at 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. around that time. If anybody opens those doors or windows, it will set off an alarm, no? So that was the question here. Nestor Ferrer. I already bought the PIR motion sensor. What device can I use to integrate our floodlight as an intruder alarm and compatible to the PIR motion sensor? There are a couple of ways to use a floodlight, right? You can some of them have sockets, so in that case you can use a smart plug, or you can even buy the smart switches that are integrated with the wire. I leave a picture here so that you can understand what I mean. So you can use those to trigger when, you know, there's an unwanted motion. So, Kokom Band. Okay. Sir, need pa ba bumili ng router? Yung ibang smart device ko kasi nag-offline. Di yata kinaya ng router yung capacity. May masasuggest po ba kayo na router na pwedeng bilhin? Okay. This is a good question. Alright. So, typically, smart devices come in two classifications. Some are Zigbee smart devices and some are Wi-Fi smart devices, no? So Wi-Fi smart devices don't need a Zigbee hub, so they directly connect to your router. But the challenge with that is if you have so many of them, like maybe 10, 15 or more, they will all flood your router capacity. So in this case, you need the very powerful routers, those that have the MIMO technology. Essentially, those that can handle like 100 devices at once. Yung mga router na yon, medyo pricey siya. Kasi it's advanced, no? So yun, I'll suggest you buy one of those. I'm using one from D-Link. I leave the link here. And I think the new ones as well, yung may mga Wi-Fi 6, may built-in na siya na MIMO, what's this, technology. And those normally can handle about up to 200 devices. So those are good. On the other hand, if you're using a Zigbee smart home gadget, they need a Zigbee hub. No, but the advantage of that is, for example, you have 10 Zigbee smart home devices, diba? You will need one Zigbee hub, and then all of those devices will communicate with the hub, and the hub will communicate to the router. So that way, hindi lahat ng devices dumidiretso sa router. They have a central connection bago siya pumunta sa router mo. So it saves you router bandwidth, but you have to buy a separate Zigbee hub. And the other advantage of having a Zigbee hub is that they don't rely on the internet. So your automations can still work even if you don't have internet. Yung mga Wi-Fi devices kasi they all rely on the internet. So pag wala kang internet, hindi gagana yung automations mo. Yan. So, very good question. Next question. Okay, this one is from Jericho Joseph Tamayo. Magstay po ba na naka-on yung lights pag walang nadidetect na movement sa PIR sensor? Gusto ko po sana pagpasok sa room, mag-auto on yung lights, tapos pagpasok ng... Okay, mag-auto off agad. Alright, so I think the question is, if I understand this correctly, if he enters the room, the lights will go on. So yes, that's possible when motion is detected. And then another setting you can do is if there's no motion at a certain time, the lights turn off. Now I have one set up in my hallway. If it detects motion, it immediately turns on. And then if there's 15 minutes without any motion, the lights turn off. I mean, that works for the hallway. I think that works for rooms as well. Now, in fact, I have one motion sensor here. So this one triggers several devices. No, so if it doesn't sense any motion for 30 minutes, it turns off all the lights and then turns off the aircon. Yon. And then when I come in, it doesn't trigger anything to go on. So I think some of the lights turn on when I come in. So yes, you can do that. So this one is for the Tapo C200. This one is a smart IP camera. Let's go to the comments. Not all the questions on this one are smart home related, so I'll pick the ones that are. So this one is from Project DIY. Not trying na integration with Google Home or Nest. Okay, so the thing is I don't have a Google Nest yet that has a screen. But what you can do with these smart home devices, smart cameras, is that you can actually tell your assistant to show you the feed from that camera. So yun. So far, yun yung alam ko ha. Okay, I guess that's the only question we have on this video. Okay, so this one is on the video for the smart curtain, the one I use for this curtain. This is from Zemi Smart. Where did you buy the scene changer? This is a question from It's Ruzel. So the scene changer, let me show you. I can get it. Okay, I got it. This is the scene changer. You can see it. So this one has 4 buttons, and it's battery operated. You just have to put a battery there. So this one, it allows you to program like 3 functions per button. So So there's 4 of them. There's 12 functions in total, right? And how I use this is, okay, I put it beside my desk, and then some buttons would turn on the lights in the room, some buttons would turn them off, some buttons would change the scenes. Like, for example, this scene right here, like these lights are on, that light is on, and some of the lights here are on. This scene is specifically for me talking to the camera, so I have a button that is dedicated to that. So if I press it, it changes the light to this scene, so it's easier for me to start recording. So it's very useful. In fact, I have another one from ZemiSmart. It's a smaller one, which I'm gonna make a video on sometime soon. And that one has, I think, 6 buttons. I'm not sure if you can program like multiple functions on each button, but that one has 6. So if it can handle like 3 each, you can get 18 functions. So that's interesting. Yeah, so I bought mine from Lazada or Shopee. It's really cheap, like maybe 500 pesos. So it's definitely worth it. Xiaomi Smart Desk Lamp. Okay, cool. So this one, let's see. This one has quite a few questions on it. That's cool. Okay, so this question is from Buchi-san. Hello po, is it okay po ba not to unplug it? I'm just controlling it kasi using Google Assistant. Thank you. Alright, so I'm not unplugging it as well. As you can see, it's right there. Just remember to set it to turn off and on using maybe the schedule. You can use Google Assistant as well. The only thing is, for automations, you will need to buy devices that are in the Mi Home environment. So they have their own motion sensors, and unfortunately they only talk to each other. So kung meron kang mga smart life devices, mga motion sensors, they wouldn't talk to Mi Home devices. So medyo magkahiwalay siya. Alright, so this one is where I upgraded my living room. I installed several Lasco devices here. I think these were a couple of switches and IR sensors and motion sensors. It's a lot actually. 1, 2, 3. So medyo madami siya. So let's see how many questions I got in this one. Okay, question from NBAD Riders. Where did you get the clock behind you? So the clock over there, I bought it from Lazada. It's a digital clock. It's nice looking. The only problem with that is it flickers on videos. But it's a really nice clock. It's big. It's you can clearly see it, and you know it tells the time. That's the most important thing. Okay, question from Otan's Adventure. Will this work with HomePod? I don't have a HomePod yet, but my guess is it probably won't, because these are smart life devices. There's probably a way to make it work through Siri shortcuts, but I haven't tried it yet. Alright, so I guess that was all the questions on the smart home videos. So I guess I was expecting more, but that's okay. Definitely ask more questions. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section. I will try my best to answer them. I will link the other videos on smart home devices I have in the description. And if you want to see more videos about tech, gadgets, and smart home devices, don't forget to subscribe. And while you're down there, might as well hit that like button, right? As always, I'll see you in the next one.